Okay. Yeah, we're good on the screen then.
All right, we're at 8:30. Are we ready?
I think so.
Okay, let's call the Board of Commissioners meeting for March 17th to order and ask you to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call, please.
Robertson. Here. Obermeyer.
Present.
Burgess.
Here.
Bowman.
Present.
Gross.
Present. Open meeting law for this meeting will be in effect. There is a copy of the Nebraska open meeting law in the back of the room, as well as outside of our chambers in the hallway. Proof of publication for this meeting was posted in the newspaper March 12th and on the York County website March 6th. Look to review and approve the minutes of our March 3rd Board of Commissioner meeting.
Move to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Perfect. Any discussion regarding? Roll call, please.
Bowman.
Yes.
Obermeyer.
Yes.
Burgess.
Yes.
Robertson.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes. And a motion to adopt today's agenda.
I'd move that we adopt today's agenda.
Thank you. Perfect. Any discussion? Roll call.
Obermeyer.
Yes.
Bowman.
Yes.
Robertson.
Yes.
Burgess.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes. All right. First up, officials forum. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Ashley Rasmussen with the York County Roads Department.
And Greg Heine, York County Roads. Go ahead. It's your turn.
So we've talked about our system, Novo. We're continuing to work to enter the inventory. We're building out work orders for equipment maintenance. I had 3 gentlemen that weren't very familiar with the computer, John Beal, Ernie Price, and Tracy Smith. They took on the task of entering sign repairs from quite a while ago. That was a daunting 3-month task, but that's all done. I have asked John to continue to work daily on the build with Novo, and his patience and attention to detail is very much appreciated.
Very good.
Recently, we did a repair on a bridge top on Road 11 from S to T. Turned out wonderful. That was a wood deck. That was one of our Scour Critical bridges that had a list of repairs that needed done. Some guardrail on Road T. That was another wood deck bridge. Fix that up, and we've got one more we need to do here in the near future, but got a handle on those 2 projects and wrapped up Road 12 here last week. So that's all done. And when weather allows and equipment allows, we're moving on to the next projects.
Perfect.
So
Any
about it.
questions for us? All right.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
Good morning.
Good morning, Lori Byers with York County Public Transit and York County Aging. I'm going to be really quick. Just let you know that this week is York County Public Transportation Week. Well, it's actually Nebraska Public Transportation Week, but we're celebrating it here in York. We have each day of the week we are doing like a dress-up day. We're doing drive March 17th. So we're doing St. Patty's Day today.
Perfect.
But I'm doing recognition for our drivers, and we have treats for our passengers. So just a quick thing on that. Unfortunately, this morning, we had our first interaction with a deer. So one of our vehicles, it's drivable, but it's not drivable. So it's currently up at Lavander's to see how much that will be to fix. Luckily, no one was hurt, but there was damage to the bumper. It kind of ripped it off, and the lights don't work, so it's really not drivable. And then lastly, just want to let you know that we have been working since the Meals Home Delivery Program, which used to be known as Meals on Wheels, run by Church Women United, but the name has changed. Since they no longer have a contract with DHHS to provide meals for Medicaid recipients, there's no service for them. So we have a number of individuals who are low income, very low income, basically in their home and cannot get a meal. So we are looking for ways that we might be able to provide service through our programs. We do have a contract with DHHS to provide Medicaid meals. And so right now we're actually our Bradshaw, there he is, our Bradshaw person, delivery volunteer, delivers to some of those individuals that are up in the northern part of town as he's on his way out, and the other volunteers, there's more than one. So we are able to meet some needs, but we are going to be looking for volunteers to meet the needs of others who are in our community. So just to put that word out. Thanks.
Very good. And you'll stick around for a little later?
Yes, I
Thank you. All right, perfect.
Do you think they pinch some ears there?
All right, other officials?
Not here, not here.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, very good. All right, we will move on down to public comment. We do have a room full, so would remind that keep your comments to 3 minutes if possible, please. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dave Bagley, attorney for the group Our Voices Count. I've been active opposing wind and solar across the state, and I can tell you that Nebraska voters, and your voters in particular, do not like solar. You had a successful recall election in this county, and I can count on both hands the number of successful recalls. It's very rare. People do not like this. My understanding is that York County is number 1 out of 93 counties in corn production. In my opinion, you should never give that up. That is just so valuable, and it's just very hard to get back. My main reason why I've been opposed to wind and solar is that it is economically inefficient. What would happen here is valuable and productive York County farmland. I understand it's valued from $6,000 to $10,000 an acre, would be converted to the inefficient production of electricity. The maximum production that solar electricity is at 25%. And I had a handout that the clerk gave to you, and I know this guy who wrote it. He's very good. There's a lot of math in it, but the upshot of it is that a 602 megawatt nat gas plant in Cerro Gordo County is placed on 58 acres. A 500 megawatt proposed solar facility in that same county would be on 2,250 acres. So that's a really bad trade. And he points out that if you wanted to match what they call the accredited capacity for 58 acres of natural gas, 105,000 acres of Cerro Gordo County would be necessary. So that's 29% of the total. The other thing I'd like to point out is your own self-interest. And it's really crystal clear that adding more wind and solar to the grid causes rates to go up. Now, supposedly if this was ever approved, it would be sold to OPPD, but there's always trade in between OPPD and MPPD. And the reason why I tell you your rates will go up, you look at Europe, and their rates are 3 to 5 times higher than U.S. average, and Nebraska is lower than that. So, if you don't want your rates to go up from MPPD, don't get into this. Finally, or next to last, I would say that your county can ban wind and solar if you want. I represent Knox County in a federal court case. Federal judge said the county could ban it. I can talk to your county attorney if he wants to. I think on the setbacks and other things, you're just on the margin. And right now, you do not have a conditional use permit for solar in front of you, and you also aren't involved in a lawsuit with OPPD. And finally, I mean, if you're really, the way the developers always pitch this to the county boards is, oh, you get all this extra tax money. If you really want tax money, you really need it. I'm not in favor of raising taxes, But you can raise taxes with the restaurant occupation tax, and all those people on Interstate 80 that stop in York, they're the ones that end up paying. So if you have any questions.
Not at this time.
Okay, thank
Thanks.
you, appreciate it.
My name is Kim Regier. I live at 913 Road 17, York. While I am not directly involved in the McCool Junction Solar Project, my mother has been approached by another proposed project by NextEra Energy in the Benedict area. Democracy dies in silence, a phrase describing how the inactivity of citizens lead to an erosion of their freedom and representation. One of the clever ways our democracy was designed to survive was by making sure power over the people was distributed among the people. After reading recent newspaper articles, I was left with the conclusion that perhaps York County is seeing democracy die in a college dorm room. I read how a young commissioner, seemingly the OPPD's representative on the York County Commissioners Board, has appointed himself as being in control of zoning and is advocating the commissioners completely bypass the concerns of the people as laid out by the zoning board. Just fall in line with the zoning regulations deemed suitable by him and the people influencing him. The zoning board exists so that democracy can live in the people. I've watched the recommendations of the zoning board be adopted by the county commissioners with the county attorney present, not objecting, only to learn later the decision was undone. It was a deal breaker. OPPD started this process representing themselves as a friendly neighbor, but when things don't go their way, they resorted to tactics that completely eliminated the voice of the local residents by encouraging the enactment of state zoning laws that the people of the county couldn't amend. Anything to achieve their agenda. The people most affected by industrial solar are least represented. The people living the farthest away, most insulated from the negative effects, are pushing the ideology. The integrity of this governing body is in question. I hope that Commissioner Robertson can help restore it. Let's make York County government about the people of York County again.
Thanks, Kim. Others from the public? Go ahead.
My name is Orville Stewart. I live at 1903 Highway 34, Waco, Nebraska. Regarding solar is relatively a new kid on the block. Maybe, there's lots of things about solar we don't necessarily understand. And some of the things that gets headlines are CO2 emissions and all the other stuff that goes along with global warming. People don't necessarily agree what side of the fence they want to be on that. Solar technology is something that is available to reduce the effects of CO2 emissions. This relatively new, since 2016, there's been a lot of these things put in. So we're still in a learning curve as to what works and what doesn't work. The CO2 concerns in our atmosphere should be getting to be a little bit of a priority. In this part of the country, we've got a little bit of an issue with water use, things like that. We need water for agriculture. That's a good place for it, but there's a lot of other industries now that are coming in that are using a lot of water. Solar farms do not use water to produce energy. In my opinion, that's a benefit. So somehow we just need to figure out how to get solar to work alongside of other energy sources. And what the best way to do that is true. It's hard to try to figure it out, but you guys went through a consultant person to give you some feedback on what's working in other parts of the country. That's pretty good feedback. There's a good possibility it's going to work in this part of the country too. Thank you.
Thanks.
Chairperson and members of the board, thank you for my time. My name is Caleb Jackson. I'm a student at University of Nebraska-Lincoln studying agriculture, economics, and receiving a certificate in public policy. I'm here to address the importance of long-standing statutes and LB 663, which the governor has now signed into law, and why requirements matter directly to your county. With the governor's signature, LB 663 is now law-abiding with the emergency clause, and it requires every member of the County Planning Commission and every member of the county board to complete 2 hours of education each term on topics specific to the role, with training developed and presented by the county attorney. This requirement exists because county officials make decisions that carry legal weight and directly affect landowners, agriculture, development, and economic future of the county. When a board member does not understand the law, the limits of their authority, or the standards they must apply, this result is inconsistent decisions, improper conditions, and a breakdown of public trust. LB 663 ensures that every official, new or experienced, understands the legal framework they're required to operate in. Nebraska law. LB 663 adds an additional layer of due process protection by requiring the Planning Commission or County Board issue a statement of factual findings with every approval or denial. This ensures transparency and protects decision based on emotion and speculation, or pressure from a single individual. It reinforces legal requirements that decisions must be grounded in record and zoning regulations, not in personal preference. Nebraska law also defines the purpose of a county board member as an elected official who represents their entire county, not one individual, not one neighbor, or not one developer. Their duty is to apply the county zoning regulations consistently, protect due process for every applicant, ensure that decisions are fair, impartial, and based on evidence. They must uphold state law, follow county ordinances, and act in the public interest of the whole county. Their job is not to enforce personal beliefs or respond to pressure from a single person. Their job is to apply the law as written. LB 663 reinforces the responsibility by requiring education, writing findings, and evidence-based decisions. This decisions matters in your county with issues such as solar setbacks, livestock operations, and other land use operations requiring clear understanding of zoning law and legal standards that govern conditional use permits. For younger new commissioners, these requirements are especially important. They ensure that he understands his legal responsibilities, limits of his authority, and the fact his role is to represent the entire county fairly and consistently. His purpose is to uphold the law, protect due process, and ensure that every landowner, whether building home, farm, or solar array, is treated with fairness and respect. With the governor's signature and long-standing requirements, these laws ensure that every county official receives the training necessary to fulfill that purpose. This law exists to make sure that every county official knows that. I strongly advise that the board move to approve strong and county-approved zoning setbacks for solar as proposed by the zoning board, and reject any new proposed ideas till the county has adopted a new comprehensive plan and education practices. I believe the clerk should have handed you or emailed you out a fact sheet. Excuse me. I've been sick this week. This is a write-up that I usually do for the senators when I go testify to legislative. I like to spend at least 1 day a week there. And so I usually take those senators, email them out to them. And so that's just a breakdown of 663. And then I'd also like to point out that when I was testifying for a bill that would remove eminent domain, Senator Bolstar, excuse me, testified saying that OPPD and NPPD executives receive a 200% increase on their land value for transmission lines. If that tells you something about them, that they care about our rates, for them to accept a 200% increase on their rates, that is just crazy. Thank you for your time.
Very good, thank you. Others from the public?
My name is Kendra Johnson. My address is 1118 Road 3. I took the time to come in this morning because I felt it necessary to come speak my mind about Joe's proposal for the new setbacks in the last commissioners meeting. My question to Joe is, why are you advocating for the interests of OPPD instead of the interests of your constituents? I watched the meeting 2 weeks ago with your proposal. It's concerning to me that you cited OPPD, Marvin, and Lancaster County, but you made no mention of the people you were elected to represent. Shouldn't the rural residents of York County be your #1 concern instead of advocating for the wishes of OPPD? In terms of setbacks, what you failed to take into consideration in your new proposal was the recommendation of our zoning board and those of us who will be impacted by such a large solar project. After many public hearings for input, the zoning board heard our concerns and set fair setbacks. Why are you now wishing to reduce them to 500 feet instead of trusting the decision of our zoning board? In my opinion, presenting setbacks of 500 feet while trying to bypass the zoning board or a public hearing is either you pushing your own personal agenda or pushing the wishes of OPPD. Neither one of those options are qualities York County residents deserve to see in a county commissioner. We deserve someone who will represent the health, safety, and well-being of York County's rural residents and someone who's willing to compromise. I extended this offer to Deb, and I would like to extend it to you as well to please come out to my home. Come walk my property, see where my children play, and tell me it's reasonable to raise children 500 feet from a large-scale industrial solar facility. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here we go. For you folks that haven't been in the room a whole lot, you're going to hear a beginning speech that I always give because they want to know who I am and where I'm from. I am Willard Peterson. My address is 514 Road 13, York, Nebraska. I am a resident of the Bradshaw area. Ask the Postal Service why I have to have a York address. Okay, that's my whatever. I was appalled when I walked in this morning and saw this. This is the top of the agenda sheet. Really pretty color emblem. What have you guys been talking about for ever since any of you have been on the board? We gotta quit spending money. This color has to cost us some money. I think it should be in black and white. Clear as a bell. Yeah, it looks nice, looks whatever, but by you guys' own words, we gotta quit spending money. All right. I wasn't gonna say much about a lot of other stuff, but after hearing some of this, anyway, the one thing there's been a whole lot of talk this morning about proposed setbacks and regulations. Well, I'll be doggone, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate that little owl sitting down there. I just saw him. Anyway, whatever. You guys have been talking for 4 years or more than 4 years about ideas for
setbacks, ideas for zoning, ideas for this, ideas for that. That's all you've been talking about, is for people to bring out ideas. Well, what I heard in that last meeting was somebody bringing out ideas. Our ideas, laws, and set in stone rules and so forth. Not my world, it's ideas. And I've also heard the comments that you guys made at the last meeting about those ideas. Quite frankly, I've been at another meeting or two where some things came out about those ideas, and everybody's got an opinion. And that's another thing that gets me. When I get up here, I understand that what I'm saying is an opinion. And I could put up fact sheets and all this kind of stuff, but a lot of that is one side of one opinion. And I know you guys are in a rock and a hard place because you're supposed to listen to both sides. You're supposed to do whatever. And quite frankly, you can't do that. No board can do that. That's an ideal that is really out there. Not because it's weird, just because it's the way it is. And so the last thing I have to say, you guys started this process, some because of solar, but mostly because, let's see, where are you at in what the law says you're supposed to do with zoning and ordinances? Oh yeah, if I remember right, it's something about you're supposed to look that over every 10 years or so. Some of this, like, that's the general idea. When did you start doing that? That should be an ongoing process. For every year, you ought to go through something. What have you been doing for the last 10 years? Nothing. Haven't looked at zoning for whatever. And then you try to start it right at the end and get it done, bang. And in the zoning world, 4 years is a bang. Think about it.
Thanks, Willard.
Jim Clutie, 1202 Road I, York, Nebraska. One issue that's not been brought up and not heard anything about, I think the people out in western Nebraska faced it last week. Underneath that solar field will be grass. That grass gets dry, and if it starts a fire, Joe, you better sell tickets because nobody's ever seen a fire quite that big. Because there's petroleum in them solar panels. And you talk about 2,800 acres, that's 4 square miles. That'll be quite a fire. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Well, it's gotten easier over the last 5 years, hasn't it? Dustin Marvel on behalf of OPPD. Wasn't really intending to speak this morning, but obviously kind of feeling obligated at this point. Let me clarify the record and make it abundantly clear to everybody. OPPD is a public power district. We are not a special interest. We are not a private developer. We do not get in bed with commissioners or pay people politically. That is not allowed because we are a political subdivision. Okay? Just like you yourself aren't allowed to necessarily get involved at those sort of levels. To Mr. Burgess's proposed regulations that have been brought up and attacked here today, I actually would openly commend him for at least thinking outside the box and getting us out of the same routine that we've seen over the last 3.5, 4 years. I think it is time to move on. This thing needs to be completed. You all have made those comments abundantly clear. I do also feel that this board has a very tough decision to make in front of you. I would point you to the things that are tried and true. What is the rational nexus for the decision, right? We see lots of arguments on both sides, At the end of the day, keep in mind zoning regulations are designed as a rational nexus to a reason to support the decision. So if there's a rational nexus beyond what is being perpetrated on Facebook, we have to look to rational thought in making these decisions. I understand it is a highly emotional topic. However, at the end of the day, this does come down to what is health, safety, and welfare and a rational nexus to a perhaps setback requirement. Lastly, I'll leave you with this. At the end of the day, this does ultimately come down to the fact you are regulating what a landowner can and cannot do with their property. Let me repeat that. A landowner can and cannot do with their property. This is not about a neighbor necessarily, though that does come into consideration, of course. But at the end of the day, the government is telling a landowner what they can do and what they cannot do with their own property. Thank you.
Thanks, Dustin. We are at 9 o'clock. We have a public hearing at 9 o'clock. We will not close the public comment. So at the end of our public hearing for a conditional use permit, we will come back if there's anybody else that wants to speak. So Nate, if you want to give us a quick rundown on what we're going to hear about here today.
Sure. Nathan Hines, County Zoning Administrator. You guys have in front of you today a conditional use permit application for Mr. Brad White. It's at 2191. I do apologize, Ms. Melby helped fix me on this. I originally gave you guys the wrong parcel, but his home address is 218 Road T. The parcel you're looking at is about a half mile north of that. Ms. Melby fixed that and should have given you guys the right parcel. But he's basically putting a house out there, shop house mix. I believe there's already a house, but he told the zoning board at the last meeting a couple weeks ago, he plans to demolish that old house when the new one's completed. Zoning board recommended approval 5-0 with the same condition that usually is in front of this board of within 1 year of the new house being completed and livable, the prior house be removed. Not to, I guess, say it's like most of the rest of them. This is pretty much just like most of the rest that's come in front of this board. So other than, again, my mess up that Ms. Melby thankfully caught me on with the wrong highlighted parcel, this was pretty straightforward like the rest of them.
Okay, very good.
And Mr. White is here also.
Okay, perfect. So at this time at 9:02, we will open the public hearing for conditional use in the northwest quarter of and the west half of southwest quarter of 2191. Notice of this public hearing was published in the newspaper March 11th. Anybody that would like to speak for or against such project can come forward at this point.
Willard Peterson, 514 Road 13. My address is York, Nebraska. I'm a proud resident of Bradshaw area. I don't live in town, but it's almost like I do. And it's my town, lived there forever. Okay. I was just thinking about some of the arguments that's been going on anyway. This is a feller that wants to build him a new house. It's right somewhere in the close vicinity to a house he's already living in. And you guys are extremely concerned about how many residences we have in York County out in the rural area. I don't know, so it don't take up farm ground or something. I don't quite get why you don't want a lot of people living out there, but you don't seem to. You got rules for that. Oh, yeah. Okay. I was at the zoning hearing where he wanted to do this house project. And when I found out what he was building, it really brought up things to my mind. This fancy lawyer used the fancy term shouse. A lot of people don't know what that is. But a shouse is a building that, in my opinion, looks like it belongs in a rural area. And there's some cities you can't build one because they don't look like everybody else's house. Well, excuse me, it's a free country. So anyway, if you want to look at it that way, then this house is exactly what we ought to be having in the rural areas. So I think what he's doing is commendable, and I'm also jealous, and he knows why, if he remembers. So anyway, I would fully support this. And that's all I better say, because everybody's talking about the law this morning. So I better not say it more. Thank you. Let him.
Others of the public?
David Bagley, Omaha attorney. I guess I'm in a neutral capacity, more as an informational point. The OPPD guy talked about zoning. And I can tell you since the 1920s, the Village of Euclid case, counties have always had the ability to zone what people do with their property. I can also tell you in Knox County, there's a lot of these houses. People like them. And I don't know the ins and outs of that, but the other thing I can tell you is that in my Knox County Federal Court case, Senior Federal Judge John Gerard at footnote 6 said that regardless of the zoning, a county board can ban solar. You don't have to regulate it with setbacks and this and that. If that's your will, if that's the will of the people of your county, you can just ban it. So just bear that in mind. Thank you very much.
Anybody else regarding the conditional use permit? Seeing no one get up, we will close the public hearing at 9:06. And Brad, if you would come up and if there's any questions from the board, we can ask them. And any discussion from the board or questions for Brad? If not, I would entertain motion for action on the conditional use permit.
Move to approve conditional use permit for Brad White.
And I believe on the last one we did, we just asked in there that they would give notice when the old house was removed.
And to give the zoning board and the county board notice when the old house was removed.
And this, Andy, this is with the conditions that the zoning board.
Yes, correct.
I would second that then.
Perfect. Any discussion? Roll call.
Bowman,
Yes.
Obermeyer.
Yes.
Burgess,
Yes.
Robertson,
Yes.
and Grooms.
Yes. All right, perfect. You're all set. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we will go back to public comment and pick that back up. If there's anybody that has not spoken that would like to address the board.
Good morning. Gene Jackson, representing Our Voices Count from Hayes Township. One thing I haven't heard in a long time, I guess, let's back up. I'd like to remind the board that this is queued at the Southwest Power Pool. The solar system is a hybrid. What does that mean? That means batteries and inverters. I don't think they should be ignored at this point in time. They should be included in the setbacks. They do use water. Quite a bit of water to cool those things. We have offers on over 500 acres down there that we know of. There may be more. So it's there, it's present, it's active. It should be considered. Another thing we talked about is property rights. I visited some of the people that have signed these solar leases. There are fences around these things. They're locked. They're told that they cannot go back on their own property. Let's talk about this grazing thing. Those people can't graze those acres. They're leased out to somebody else, maybe somebody from Colorado with a bunch of sheep. It's not the local. So then they talk about harvesting grass too. Same deal. Those people signed away their rights to their own property. They're still paying property taxes on them. But they signed away the rights when they signed that lease. Please consider the batteries. Oh, and by the way, it's not if, it's when. One of those batteries will catch fires. Have we heard anything about fires in the state of Nebraska lately? Very important. Thank you.
Thanks, Gene. All right, anybody else? Public comment? Seeing no one else get up, we will go ahead and close the public comment and move on down through our agenda. We will do an executive session. It will be later. No general assistance cases today. So that takes us to review and approve payroll and vendor claims.
I think all the claims, Daniel, if I look through them, were straightforward. We are getting to that time of year prior to first collections and prior to escrow account money coming in, and prior to the second half of our property tax credit money that comes in. The things are getting a little bit tight in the county checkbook. So we see a fairly clear path, but it's one of those things where we, this time of year, it's just, fairly tight before the April money starts flowing in. We have bills to pay, so I would make a motion to approve payroll and vendor claims.
Second.
Perfect. Any other discussion on payroll and vendors? Roll call, please.
Overmeyer.
Yes.
Burgess.
Yes.
Bowman.
Yes.
Robertson.
Yes.
Groves.
Yes. Okay, funding transfers. So that takes us down to York County Public Transportation's Title V plan. Title VI, maybe. Sorry.
Lori Byers, York County Public Transportation, here today to present an updated Title VI program document for approval of the board. We get assistance with NDOT in writing this document, but basically it is our non-discrimination statement to the public, and it gives them information on how to file a complaint if they needed to, and how we will provide services in a non-discriminatory manner. So that is the document. And I do have a printout with two little marks on there for where you need to sign. And do you have any questions?
Your advisory board has looked it over and they. Okay.
Well, in a sense, they
Yeah, we're
didn't
sure.
actually look at, but we discussed it.
Okay. Great. Anything major change in it from
No.
before?
No, it's just, it needs to be updated
Yep.
on a regular basis, and we were asked to update.
Yeah, looking through it, there was nothing out of the ordinary.
I mean, our county is one where the percentage of non-whites is very, very small.
Sure.
However, we do have some information in here provided in Spanish, which would be probably the most likely other language used. And so we're not required to provide other things because of that percentage, but
Sure.
we can provide them if needed. So,
Other thoughts or comments?
Move to approve the County Public Transportation's Title VI plan.
I would second that motion.
Perfect. Additional discussion? Roll call, please.
Bowman,
Yes.
Robertson,
Yes.
Obermeyer.
Yes.
Burgess.
Yes.
And Groves.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, discuss and act on Region 5 Systems request for additional county match. I don't know. Did they
Yes, this-
provide you with information?
This
All
was
right.
discussed at the meeting I was at last Monday, a week ago, and apparently there's a statute that every county that they work with has a set amount that we pay to provide those services, but that doesn't meet their budgetary needs, and so they have requested additional funds from each county based on a system that they have worked out to make it prorated by use, and the funding that's being requested this year is exactly the same as last year. They are making changes in their budget. They found some efficiencies that save, but then they also have additional needs because of growth and things like that. So these funds are being requested the same as they had been last year, and so it's just coming forward for their next budget process.
They did, last year, they presented the same request.
And the boards approved the statutory funding because that just has to be by law. But then we also approved that they make the request that we now vote on this piece of the budget for them.
Sure. The one thing that, in your discussions with them, and you can take feedback back to them,
Okay.
depending on how this board votes. It is, I won't support this today, in that we're 6 months out from our budget. And so it's kind of hard to commit at this point. And so everybody's budgets align at different times. And so that's probably why they need action now. But, I'm afraid if we would approve this now and then we get to the time when we're doing our budget and this year's budget is probably going to be pretty much of a crunch. I don't feel comfortable committing at this point to additional. And so that can.
Sadly, I haven't been through a budget process.
Yep,
so I
exactly.
don't have
Yep.
those thoughts,
Nope.
so
For sure.
Very good.
For sure. Others' thoughts?
Yeah, that's kind of where my head went on this too. It seemed like this is extremely early for them to ask. I want to say last year was in June, potentially.
It could be. It was early before we got started on the budget process also. Last year, we voted not to do it. It does, it comes early, and unfortunately that, for us, that's hard to commit to.
And I'm sure they're probably dealing with loss of state, possibly loss of federal funds, as we all gonna have to navigate those waters. Completely understand why they're sending this out.
Sure.
But I'm in the same boat, it's not gonna be my recommendation to tie us, especially with the year, we did give some raises this year with the elected officials coming up. That's gonna affect this budget half the next year. And we're just gonna have some other things we're gonna have to concentrate on. Now, granted that $4,389 in the realm of things is not a lot, but they add up.
Exactly.
So, and we've always, told all of our other ones that we help out of our inheritance, our adopted pet, our library system, and things that, if it ever comes down to it, those things are in jeopardy also.
Right. Correct.
And so this would be right in there with that, I would say.
I guess I would make the motion to approve the statutorily required match for Region 5 funding and table the additional match request until a meeting in June where we have a
Can I say something? I think
Yep.
they need to know this by May 13th. So it can't be.
table until our first meeting in May.
Okay, that's fine. My vote won't change between here and May,
Okay.
but,
We can talk again.
Yeah, I would feel comfortable with saying we just disapprove it.
Mhm.
You know, and if we get to the time where we do think we have some, I'm sure they'll always accept it.
right.
You know, and
That's right.
but I agree with that. If they want a yes or no, to me, the answer now would be no.
Yes.
We're not.
I guess I'd be in the same boat. If they need to know today, the answer is no.
And I would, if that's the way you want to make it, then I'll second that then.
Did you have something?
I just wanted to ask, York County did not fund this request last year?
Correct.
I
It was just the statutory required.
Yes, right, yes.
So we're going to table it until May?
Well, that motion hasn't received a second yet,
Okay.
so I'll ask for a second, and if it don't, then it will fall.
Obermeyer did, sorry.
I was seconded if it
If he
is
changes it.
disapproved,
Oh.
if he changes it to disapprove.
I'll change this.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so we have a motion on the table now for approving the statutorily required Region 5 match and denying the additional match. And Obermeyer seconded that. Okay, so now we have a motion and a second approving the statutory requirement and denying the additional match. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Bowman,
Yes.
Obermeyer.
Yes.
Burgess.
Yes.
Robertson
Yes.
and Gross.
All right. We'll take up next the discuss and act on commercial appraisal agreement with Vanguard Appraisers. Good morning.
For Bolton, our county assessor. Apologize for emailing that to you yesterday with late notice. This is the contract for the first part of the commercial reappraisal that we'll be doing here in York County. This will cover the areas down by the interstate, commercial properties down by the interstate, kind of south of where you want to call it the Y is, where you come into York. So everything south of there. And then the northern part of the city, the industrial area up there, kind of north of the tracks, north of the hospital up there. So.
And Kurt, this is something that needs to be done, signed as soon as possible, or?
Yes, they want this. This contract here is good, I think, through all this contract submissions get through April 1st. So once we get it in, then they can start their process of doing their appraisal work. So, and they'll start it, I'm not sure when they'll start that this year, at some point they will, so. With the completion date of, I think, January 1st of 2028. And that's just those two areas. That doesn't include like the downtown area here at the road, because it's gonna take a while to get that all redone.
And did we, have we used them, did we use them last year on something, or
They've been doing our commercial, like our building permits, that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
The last company to do the reval for commercial properties was Standard Appraisal Services. And what's nice about this, we're Standard, they gave us numbers and we took those numbers and plugged them into our system, like value numbers. They didn't build anything into the system, so nothing's depreciating off the tables. What Vanguard does, they build everything into our system, leave notes, so if people have questions as to why their value changed, then we can help them and let them know that. And then, like I said, everything's gonna be table driven after that.
That's better.
And this also includes setting the land values for the commercial properties as well.
So you're right, it did come late, and I know you were out of town last week, and unfortunately I had a meeting last night, so this is one that I did not to get able to review. I was looking at other stuff all last night. Did this go through the county attorney's office, and county attorney was comfortable with it?
Yes.
The budgetary process for this is obviously talking about reappraisal sinking fund that we've been using, and the $95,477 that I see here is that you're saying it's a 28 finish, so does it break it down then in there too, Kurt, to how we're gonna pay this? You know, if the work's gonna start fairly rapidly, is that split up over 2 budget years, over?
I don't know if we'll just I'm not sure if we'll get a billing at the end of this phase of the project. So, because this just covers the, excuse me, the like York Commercial 1 and York Commercial 3. That's all this covers. I don't know if we would get the bill right after that, or if they'll just bill us like quarterly until it's all done, but I'm not sure. Excuse me, I can go back to the office, give them a call quick if you'd like, and
Does anybody else have?
clarify that.
Because you said April 1, we have one more meeting prior to April 1. the
Right.
1st. I don't know if anybody else has any other questions, but yeah, I would, be interested in that and how that's done. If Gary looked at it, I'm okay with the fact that Gary looked at it and we're good on the contract basis.
I had some similar questions around when the actual payment dates and terms are for that. My assumption based on reading it is just a couple sections that's probably is gonna hit this year, all of it. Kurt, is that kind of the way you feel?
Let me give them a call today, and like I said, I can go back to the office here. If you guys have more items, I think for you to take up here. Let me give them a call and clarify that.
Yeah, that's a big dollar. That's a big dollar
Yeah.
figure for not knowing when it's gonna hit the books, especially if they want it immediately and we're already a little bit tight prior to second half property tax. So.
Let me confirm that for you. Okay.
All right, in that case, I would move to table it till.
Yeah, we don't actually even need to do anything
Oh, nice.
until
Just move on.
we can move on and then
I
he'll, before
will let
we
you know
adjourn.
if I don't hear back from them before you guys
Yeah.
adjourn, I'll let you know.
Okay.
Then go ahead and table that until.
The one question, we have, so there's commercial and multifamily improved, industrial improved, and then vacant land. There's like 247 of the commercial and multifamily, and then 0 of the industrial improved. Do you know like what the breakdown is of that, or what? I just was curious what the industrial approved.
The industrial improved would be your bigger manufacturing.
So-
So I would say like a Clutie manufacturing,
Right.
industrial versus like the, McDonald's or Fred's or something like that.
Yep, and so
the
like,
multifamily improved, that would be your apartment buildings.
sure, yep, yep. Okay. All right. Okay, so we'll come back to that. We're real close here to Board of Equalization. And here have most of our other things are gonna take a little bit of time. So,
Jared is here. I mean, if you
Is
got
he?
time.
Okay.
Yeah, he's out in the
Yeah.
hallway.
Jared, you wanna come in? That'd be great. I looked and didn't see him.
I do work for the congressman, but I can be brief.
Welcome.
Appreciate the opportunity to provide a, as I said, brief update. I'm Jared Reimers. I'm Congressman Smith's district coordinator. And despite the fact that he does have an office in Grand Island, I'm actually out of his Nebraska City office, which is a portion of the state he gained when the unicameral did the redistricting process in the last redistricting process during the census. At any rate, just here to go over a couple quick things. The congressman has 3 constituent services offices in state, one in Scottsbluff, one in Grand Island, and then, as I mentioned, Nebraska City. The role of those offices is to work with constituents, whether that's elected officials like yourselves or the communities throughout the 79 counties that he has in the district, to provide really 3 things. That's direct access to him and the office as a whole, and then opportunities for accessing the various constituent engagement things that that members of Congress would offer, like being able to get flags to fly over the Capitol and things of that nature. But really, the big thing is constituent casework. And that's how members of Congress work with individuals in their district, in his case, to provide direct access to agencies and assistance in navigating red tape. The biggest areas that he finds that third district residents have need in those areas for is getting the VA to be more effective, working with the USDA for ag programs, and the last thing would probably be passports. And that one is, I think, one I bring up every year, and it's really just because it is, no matter who's in the White House, it is a backlogged agency for a whole array of reasons. So please, we always try to take this as an opportunity to encourage residents to please make sure to stay on top of your passport if it's something you need, because it is absolutely not something you can get last minute, unless in our case, you're prepared to make a drive to Denver or New Orleans to get it within the same day timeframe. Otherwise, Congressman continues to be a member of the Ways and Means Committee and serves as the trade chairman for this Congress within that committee. Really what that means for Nebraska is that when it comes to trade issues within the House, ag is front and center. And that is why ag has been part of the priority issues that the agreements with Japan, the UK, Singapore, and the updated agreements with Mexico and Canada have been part of what the congressman's been able to secure within the timeframe that he's been the chairman for that particular issue within Ways and Means. The big thing with Mexico and Canada is the biotech corn and their concerns over dairy. He's been one of the lead voices in getting resolved. Big issue for this year at this point, as far as ag is concerned, that he's been pushing and has been an advocate for a number of years, is the Around E15 and the USDA getting the Farm Bill to be recertified for this year. Farm Bill is a little further down the road in terms of timing for this calendar year, but he's got a couple things in the pipeline for Around E15 to try to get that secured again. Whether or not that gets through Congress in this session remains to be seen, but he continues to be a pretty strong advocate for that particular issue. Last legislative item I wanted to just make sure to clarify is he did, working with a number of Republicans and Democrats last year, secure a bill for families to work with their youth to basically secure what amounts to scholarships through savings accounts, for the potential for them to be able to make their own decisions for their individual youth's educational path. I bring that up simply to point out that it's similar in vision, but not at all in practice, to the bill that Nebraska voted down twice and the unicameral aggressively disagreed with, that would have taken the ability for public schools to use property taxes and basically harm public school funding access, especially through property taxes. While they both in the end would get to individual students having more opportunities for funding of different educational paths, they're not at all similar in the sense that his vision does not, or version does not harm property taxes as it relates to public school funding. That's all I've got to share. Happy to take any comments or questions. Otherwise, I know you've got other things to get done.
Comments or questions for Jared? Yeah.
I appreciate the opportunity as always.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Jared. Have a good rest of the day.
Okay.
Thank you for 2 minutes. Get out of here. All right. Thank you so much.
All right, we will call the Board of Equalization meeting to order at this time. Ask for a roll call.
Robertson. Present. Overmeyer.
Present.
Burgess.
Present.
Bowman.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes. open meeting laws in the back of the room as well as outside our chambers in the hallway. Proof of publication for this meeting was on the website March 6th and in the newspaper March 12th. First up, review and approve the minutes from the March 17th Board of Equalization meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Roll call.
Bowman,
Yes.
Burgess,
Yes.
Robertson,
Yes.
Bowman, or Obermeyer,
Yes.
and Groves.
Yes. And adoption of today's agenda.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Perfect. Any discussion? Roll call.
Obermeyer.
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Robertson,
Yes.
Burgess,
Yes.
Groves.
Yes. All right, public forum. Anybody that would like to speak regarding the Board of Equalization? Seeing none, we will move on down with our agenda. First up, we have discuss and act on tax list corrections. All right.
Older New York County Assessor. These tax list corrections are the result of an audit that was conducted by the Department of Revenue Property Assessment Division. We were comparing the incomes recorded on the homestead exemption applications for these applicants that are included in these tax list corrections today versus what the IRS had for incomes, and these are the results of that audit.
Very good.
Kurt, when somebody turns in, and I know that you reach out to people about the homestead exemptions, and when they turn that information in, is there anything done in your office that verifies the numbers?
Not on the income side. We just, at the local level, you only verify the residency, so whether they are living in the county or living in that home. And that's really about it. Age maybe too. But the income side is all handled by the state. So we have roughly over 500 applicants every year just in York County.
Okay.
So you get to, like, and then you look at Douglas County, for example, they have about 500 of these tax list corrections just from the audit alone for 2022. So it's a lot of paperwork for the state to have to go through to verify all these audits.
So it's imperative that the property owners do the best they can to put this correct information down, because it's obvious now, as we see what's in front of us, it can come back and haunt you a little bit too.
Right, and it's, for whatever reason, from what I understand, this was for 2022. This is kind of my first time handling this many from an audit. The visiting with other assessors, they have said that there typically hasn't been this many tax list corrections. So a lot of counties saw this year. And from what the department has told us, they have changed the way they do their audits. So they're diving into it a little bit more, I think, perhaps. Again, because it's money from the state that's coming back to the counties, so they have to be responsible for that. So that's why we're seeing such a high number this year for the 2022 audits. Keep in mind too, there's a couple in here for the 2023 tax year. They're not done doing 2023's audits yet, so we might see more down the road. When that is, I'm not sure.
23 and 24 both.
Well, absolutely, yeah, whenever they get to those.
Right, because we've seen a couple names on this list that are duplicate names.
Right.
So it very possibly could happen again.
Right.
And they have X amount of days prior to us making the decision today to pay this, because these are our property tax dollars that are from 2-3 years ago.
Right, yeah, it's 30 days according to the treasurer for them to pay that from today, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Kurt.
Yeah, I had talked with Megan, and she had mentioned the 30-day window, and that she would be sending out a letter to the taxpayers with the new statement showing what is owed. And then they will have that 30 days to get in here.
30 days before they start accruing interest, right?
Right.
Currently, they're not accruing any interest, but in 30 days, they'll
will.
start getting interest.
Yeah.
Go into that
And-
delinquent stage.
And it does go back to when they were delinquent. I don't have any way to,
Oh,
it doesn't start over. Yeah.
okay.
And keep in mind, the folks that are going to be receiving these letters, they should be aware, because they were given notice in December that, the audit took place.
Okay.
What the department had
And then
discovered.
they,
And
and
then
then
they
you said they had,
had an appeal process. They had to like mid-January to appeal that decision. So if they didn't appeal that decision, then that's, their name's on this list today.
so there shouldn't, getting a letter from
Yeah, it's not the
Megan
first
shouldn't be a complete surprise.
It shouldn't be a complete surprise, but it's a nice reminder too.
Right.
Because they just got the notice that they,
Could be, or
that they're,
was it,
there was an
there,
audit done. They don't know yet what that tax bill is gonna be. So, until Megan sends those statements out.
okay. Very good. So before us, we have correction number 5-26R through 21, was it? 21-26R. All of these are the same issue, correct? They're all for the audit, so I think we can handle them all in one swoop unless there's a reason not to.
I would make a motion to approve the tax list corrections that are presented in front of us from the York County Assessor's Office.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Overmeyer.
Yes.
Bowman.
Yes.
Robertson.
Yes.
Burgess.
Yes.
Rhodes.
Yes. All right, perfect, thank you. Next up. Next up on the Board of Equalization, we do have a executive session to go into executive session with the county attorney for legal advice. So unfortunately, I will ask that everybody step outside and try to be brief so that we can get you all back in here.
I'd make a motion that we go into executive session at 9:41 a.m. Let's call it for advice from attorney.
All in the street.
Roll call, please.
Overmeyer.
Yes.
Bowman.
Yes.
Robertson.
Yes.
Burgess.
Yes.
Rhodes.
Yes.